We're all set. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Town of Pownell Select Board Meeting, May 22nd, 2025 is 6:01 PM. Call the meeting to order. Board member roll call.
Carl Strohmeyer.
Jeannie Alexander.
Mike Gardner.
Jamie Percy.
Brian Harris.
All rise for the pledge of allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the agenda. We need to add cemetery flowers and the transfer station, and then we need to remove the emergency management plan discussion and possible action. I'd like to put the transfer station in place of that as 10. And the cemetery flowers, we can put right in the same place, 10A.
Make a motion to accept the agenda with the changes.
I'll second that.
Any discussion on the agenda? All those in favor?
Aye.
Public comment. No hands? All right. Approval of minutes from May 8th, 2025 select board meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion, corrections, additions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Warrants, accounts payable, May 16th, $9,307.16.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Accounts payable, May 23rd, $33,299.36.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Payroll, May 16th, $11,782.66.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Payroll, May 23rd, $10,781.91.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Correspondence.
Just have the one, it's pretty brief. Hello, Tara, I am resigning from the Pownell Conservation Commission. If there's anything I can help with that is more in line with my background and expertise, please let me know. Thanks, Joe Gantz. I think he's just, his goals didn't really align with what the commission was in place for. But he would like to know if there's anything else he can offer, which I will keep in touch with him. But does the board want me to advertise for the open position on this Conservation Commission?
Yeah, I would say so.
Actually, any open positions we have, we might go do it. Try again.
Do we want to do a deadline or just an open?
A deadline until somebody actually applies.
Well, the thing, if you leave it as an open-ended thing, right? If somebody applies in the next week and somebody applies 2 weeks later, how do you just determine, is it a first come, first served thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not being serious.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I
I
just,
think,
2 weeks?
yeah, how about we say like June 10th
Right.
and then we'll bring them to the next meeting.
right,
Great.
perfect. I just worry about an open-ended thing. Somebody's gonna say, oh, well, I didn't know there was a deadline. really want to do it.
Mhm.
No. I just don't want to be that person.
No, I hear you.
Thank you.
Do we have to accept his resignation? We do, right? But, yeah, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Have a motion, have a second. To accept Joe Gantz's resignation from Conservation Commission. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Tobacco and or second class license applications and or excess weight permits.
So we have the outdoor license for the American Legion Pownell Post 90. Not much other information besides that.
Is that? But that's not a second class license application, correct? That's a first and third class, right?
Yeah, they've
Yeah,
had
but
that
it's-
before.
I know. So. We had an email sent to us. Did everybody get that? I didn't-
Steve?
I believe it went to
Yeah,
everyone, yes.
did everyone read that email?
Yes.
So, in light of that email, and I don't know, I mean, I've versed myself on the liquor control through this whole process, through what their rules and regulations are. But in that email, it seems that Steve wonders if the whole board is versed on rules and regulations. So are we? Do we know as a board the rules and regulations of what Vermont Liquor Control Board says for any of the license classes, first, second, or third? Do we know the fees? Do we know the process? So you might have a valid point that we're voting on these licenses without being versed in what we're voting on. So it might be a valid point. I mean, through the first process, and I honestly, I wasn't really versed in them before the Legion came for their
I
inside.
wasn't either.
So I did do a pile of research on it and became familiar with the fees and the fee schedule and that kind of stuff. So what's your pleasure?
What are you proposing? Because I would say that I have read the schedule, right? But I don't have experience with it otherwise. So I think.
I would like to postpone this particular application until our next regularly scheduled meeting in June where everyone, unless we're all familiar with it, if everyone can say, okay, we're good with it, then I'm fine with that. I just think that his email absolutely was a valid email that we may not
Yeah.
know what we're voting on totally and what the rules and regulations are. And I think it's our due diligence to know and understand that. And this is not their inside permit. It's a permit for their outside.
Right.
So I would like to postpone this until our next regular meeting on the 12th.
Is question on their permit? Do they have a permit? When does their permit run out?
That is a good question. I don't believe they have a current outdoor. I
Oh, that ran out already.
think it ran out already.
What's your pleasure? It's one way or the other.
I mean,
We either vote on it or we don't, one or the
I
other.
mean, I think it's a reasonable point to make. And I mean, I would even make myself available to have, and don't throw things at me, anybody. As a special meeting to really focus on this too, to make sure that we are all up to date and understand it. I think that instills confidence. And if it means we delay one more. The other question is this impacting their business right now?
Let me ask you this, Carl. I know you're hesitating here. Are you comfortable voting on this, not knowing what the rules and regulations are on the outdoor facility?
We have never gotten into the weeds like this before.
I understand that.
And what is our, exactly what is our, we're giving them a license to sell alcohol. In that license, do we do anything else? Or are we just, it's a state, or are we just going along with what this, I know what you're saying, but I'm also, I don't want to put the Legion at a different level than what we required of the Dollar General.
This is totally different. This is the outside license. And the Dollar General does not come for a first and third class license. They only come for a second class.
First class is bar.
First class, first class is a club, beer and wine. Third class is a club or hotel or restaurant or whatever, liquor, whiskey and liquor and those types of things. That's the difference between. Second class is a retail beer and wine, not serving beer and wine.
Correct.
We did approve their indoor.
Right.
So what would be the reasoning to not approve the outdoor? I know that you want
Right, that's-
that. I understand what you're saying, totally. But I think Steve's email was basically trying to say that we shouldn't hold them back from approval. Any reason, I think. I am not sure.
I don't want to hold him back from approval, but I think in his email, he was very correct in saying that even through the first process, we didn't know as a board, right, through the first, even though it got approved, we didn't know the process. And I think he's absolutely correct in that. I don't think we did as a board.
As a whole board, probably not.
Well,
After,
So-
because I don't know if everybody has read up on that stuff.
Mhm.
And I hadn't read the whole thing until that particular one had come up.
No.
Oh, me
It
either.
applies,
I mean,
it goes to the town clerk, and then the town clerk presents it to us. Is that how it goes?
I believe it,
They apply
It
to
looks-
the
The state,
state,
Yeah.
sends it to Julie.
and it
Right.
goes through an email to Julie, and
Right.
then Julie gives us to me to bring.
right, and forward it
Okay.
on to us.
Well, we understand what he wants. We aren't opposed to it as a board. I mean, maybe there's a way to divide this. We vote for this and we also commit to. Either each
I
individual
understand
commits
what's
to.
going on, and I'm
Understanding.
comfortable making a motion, but what Mike is asking is, does the whole board feel comfortable?
Do comfortable voting on it tonight?
Yes, and I can't speak for you or
I'm
you.
comfortable voting on it right now.
That's,
Yay or nay.
this is the question that the chair has proposed.
And then I also turn around and think that we should turn around and have a class so that we will know.
Well, you don't need to have a class. All you need to do is pull up the liquor control board and
I'm comfortable.
read the information.
Right.
It's right there.
I was gonna say, I'm on it right now.
Yeah, it takes 10 minutes to read what's going on.
Okay, then let's
It's not like you need to have a big session and have a class.
No.
It's just,
But
that, and I'm fine with I'm fine voting on it because I have versed myself in what we're doing.
Mhm.
That's, I'm
I
totally
understand.
for it. I am not against it. I just think that Steve had a very valid point.
Mhm.
And I just wanted to bring that point to light.
Mhm.
So what's your pleasure?
Do you feel?
I'm perfectly fine voting to approve it because I do not wish to hold up a business's outdoor.
I'll second that.
Because if we're gonna do that to him, then we need to do that for everything else. We need to do it
Right.
for tobacco. We need to do it for level 1, level 2. Might as well do it for all overweight permits. You might as well do it for everything.
Yep.
Which
It is,
I'm not saying we shouldn't,
I know,
but I'm saying if you're gonna do it to one, you better do it to everybody.
Yep.
I understand that.
I just wanted Mike's question answered. That's all I was looking for before we move forward. He asked a question, if every individual on this board felt comfortable voting on it. So if everybody does, then we can have a motion.
Well, I think
I make a
Ryan-
motion to approve the outdoor permit.
I'll second that motion.
So that's all I was looking for, is clarification from everybody to answer the question that you would ask.
Any more discussion on it? All those in favor? Perfect. Transfer station. We're gonna make it quick, Tom. We're not gonna
Yes, we,
drag this thing on.
oh, Tom and I, well, kind of together worked on the operating plan.
Is that what you want to do first, or the operating instruction or policy, I mean?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
Okay, yep, I just want to get on the right,
yep.
Yeah.
on
I
my,
think, that's sort of the good place to start, because
Yep, I agree.
everything's sort of outlined. I only had two questions about the operating plan.
first, did everyone have a chance to read this, go over this operating plan? Okay.
So my only two questions are, I think the number of employees that are gonna be operating the transfer station should be in this. And I'm not sure if you all decided if that was going to be one person or two. And then the other question I have is at the top where it says, if the person servicing the transfer station simply needs assistant or consolidating piles, that kind of stuff, to call the highway department supervisor.
Yeah, I didn't understand that.
So I'm not sure if that's what the board wants or not.
Tell you the truth, I really haven't discussed that with Joel, but in the past, if I needed help, he'd send Mike or somebody over there just to give me a hand,
Mhm.
for a little bit of time, he's not long. But, yeah, the one we looked at was way more supervisors, which we don't have.
Yeah, there was more people.
Had more layers to what you're talking. Okay.
Yeah, having that in there could pose a potential problem. Maybe not now, because, sorry, Tom, I can't read without these, you're all blurry and I don't like that. If our highway department supervisor changes, is that gonna be the same? I mean, it probably should stay the same, but who, are they gonna be as?
Able,
Yeah, there you go, to send you or whoever's running the transfer station, someone over to help them.
I think though, right, if we have a policy governing this, and that is what the policy says, as long as, I think I would like to know that you've had that conversation directly with Joel. If we're gonna reduce this to a policy, and if he's good with it, then I don't feel so bad about finding a future supervisor with that.
change the highway supervisor
Mhm.
policy a little bit. Yeah, I was thinking about. Yeah. No, it's that, I haven't talked, I mean, he always said, yeah, he's always told me it will help, you need help, so. But, it's gonna have to be official somehow. So.
Is he gonna be
Really
here?
need
No.
to, you did that. But, barring that point, would you have anything else on there? You took out the helping customers. correct?
Yeah, I did take out, just so the board knows, I think I put that in the email that I took out, the helping and assisting customers because the insurance really discourages them.
Right. That's a
Touching their stuff at all.
liability issue there.
And the thing is, if I'm there by myself, I'm not gonna be able to go up there and back.
Mhm.
I'm gonna have to go up there to compact and so forth, and it's gonna stop. 4 or 5 minutes, it's gonna stop. That's it. So that's how it's gonna work during the day.
So one of the things that, and I apologize, I didn't get to you guys before. This was done. One of the things that other transfer stations discourage, and I'm not sure how we would attack this, but for construction, demolition and those kinds of things, they discourage dumping into a dumpster. Where your dumpster, you're going up even with a gated rail, whatever. Where they have the potential, a customer has the potential to fall in. So what they do is they dump it on the outside. And I'm not sure it's gonna work, Tom. I've thought about this a little bit, but they dump it on the outside and then put it into the container with equipment, a backhoe or an excavator with a thumb or whatever, right? There's multiple ways, right? So things where we like scrap metal, construction debris, demolition type stuff, What else do we dump into, where it's like a drop box?
A bit of, actually a pretty good side of our construction is the indoor construction we have now. That takes care of the drywall, which is gonna put the stuff inside, that's gonna be fine.
Mhm.
You know, we won't have a problem at all. But when you do the drywall, the furniture, the mattresses and all this other stuff is in there. And, yeah, that, anything that gets wet, that gets really heavy, insulation, home and soap, all kinds of things like that. So we try to keep all of that in there if we can,
Mhm.
and, we would just compact it from the top.
Right, but the customer, when they bring it in, stands elevated from the box.
Well, it's almost even.
Right, that's
But
even,
they're throwing down into the box. They're not lifting.
right.
There's a potential for the customer to fall into the box.
Well, it's been for years.
Tom, I'm not disputing the years. Look at, we're going forward.
We're supposed to have those rails up.
Yes.
Those rails need to be up.
It's just a point that came up in a conversation with someone who has transfer stations.
How would you handle it, right?
I don't, Carol, I really don't know. I thought about it, to be honest with you.
The only thing I could see is that you would put it and then load it into the
Well,
dump.
that's what they do. That's what this other
Yeah.
town does. I've talked to a couple times actually.
The steel would be easy because you just put that in a pile and then
Right.
when we're ready to ship it out, we just have somebody come up. We put a thumb on the excavator or the backhoe that we got and put it in. That's not an issue.
Does that backhoe over there have a thumb on it now, Tom?
No.
No.
No, but
It's a 98 case.
I don't,
I'm not sure we could put one on every.
well, I'm sure you could, but
Yeah.
there's always ways to do things. But I just, it's just something that I think we need to look at and think about.
yeah, I agree with you because we've been lucky. We've been lucky. And all we need is somebody to slip and fall into a dumpster with all kinds of nasty stuff in it.
We have railings.
All right.
And you're right, the railings need to be, the real railings need
They
to
have
be
been
there.
down when I've been there.
Yeah.
So they need to be up.
They need to be off.
Very, very dangerous.
Now, there's a couple ways, Carl, I thought about doing this because you did ask. And I haven't come up with the exact answer that I'm really comfortable with. All right, but one thing that I thought about was if we had a grapple bucket that goes onto the backhoe, right? So you come in and you got a grapple that comes over the construction debris and the metal and whatever, right, on the front.
Yep.
Okay, I mean, I have one on my little tractor at my house for my sawmill, and it works great. I think that would work really good for this.
Joel said you need a push point, maybe down and back. And he did say Tom can call him. So we can leave that on the top.
Okay.
Well, the thing is, we could dump it inside and take the dumpsters out of there. Just dump it inside, we get enough, we'll fill it up and have them haul it out.
Well, I would like Mike to look at that building to see if it's, because I'm telling you, there's a post every time you turn around. And you want to talk about popping posts out when you're packing a dumpster.
Well, I think there's a couple things. I think you're right, Carl, but I think Tom's not. I've thought about that. Just backing up, dump it down in. This bay here has construction debris. This bay here has furniture. This bay here has metal, whatever, right? So that you can get in there on that cement pad, load it with the front end loader, put it into a dumpster, right? So let me ask you a question. Would there be enough room along those lines to not really, because you'd really want the dumpster, the other way, not.
Right.
So you have your building, right, that's longer than it is deep. And right now it's set up for those 30-yard dumpsters to go in
Perpendicular.
the depth wise, where if you were loading it, you'd want that dumpster parallel with your building.
Then you can't get it turned out to get all that.
Right.
Right. So it's not conducive to doing, but it would, I guess if you were loading them outside,
Yeah, if you had it outside, just have the material in there and then just pick it up, take it outside, dump it. and have them come and get it right away, schedule it,
it would be all about scheduling, right?
yeah,
Is that a possibility, Tom?
I would think so,
Okay,
I would think so.
It's
The
stored
only
until
thing
you're ready.
I'm really concerned with is tires.
we fixed that on July 1st.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
July 1st, we fixed the tire problem.
There's no
We don't take it
tires.
anymore.
I'm talking about tires on the.
Oh, on the machine. Oh, okay.
Machine, I would think that you at least want the front tires foam filled.
I agree.
I mean, I've had those on my.
You're talking foam filled?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could always just get the hard tires.
Well, that's what you can foam fill them like, mine, I've had for 18 years. Of course, you never have a flat with them, you know.
Is that a change that you think we need to make right now?
I don't, Tara. I just think that while we're doing the policy, I just wanted to bring it up for something to think about. To make these changes, because I think we just need to we've been doing it for a long time. We've dodged a lot of bullets. I get that part of it, but I don't want to keep dodging bullets. I'd rather have the gun empty.
Our insurance was just there and they're okay with the way it is
Right.
now.
Right. So I just think I wanted to bring that up so we think about it and not leave it by the wayside. I think the transfer station we've spent a lot of time on it in the last however many months. And I think we're in a good place with it, or at least headed into a good place with it. And I just want to make sure that I don't want to come back here, 3 months or 4 months from now and say, oh man, I wish we'd have done that then or talked about it then,
Yeah.
That's all. I think we're okay. I just wanted to put that out there. It's in the policy.
Well, I know the
And
number.
I think we sure could change it if
We can revisit this.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
And Tara brings up the question of the number of people. I know that was our discussion before also, and that's why we were gonna take and do a workshop basically and go physically be there while the transfer station's operational. And that way they can have a better judgment to that.
My gut feeling is if there is a problem, it will be on Saturday.
Oh, my.
And just know that was part of that
Don't get on
discussion.
Fridays and Saturdays.
So,
That's what
I agree. I think we decided we were gonna see what it was like. I think the goal was to get down to one person running the transfer station
that's what our
With-
hope is.
but we definitely need some other people trained,
Yes.
right? We don't want to have just one person, because if something happens to that one person, now what do we do?
Right.
So we need to have a couple of other people trained. Now, I tried to get in the other day and to the tag out, lockout, and my Joel set me up and it expired. So Tara's gonna try to set me back up. We talked about it. Maybe tomorrow we'll work on that.
Yeah.
So that I can get trained in the tag out, lockout section, myself. But at least I could open up on a Saturday. It might not be Wednesday and Friday, but if something happened to Tom, we could run 1 day a week type thing or whatever. So.
Cause you're losing Paul pretty soon, right?
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
Joel
stretched
wants
as
that.
far
Joel-
as.
Joel went on my-
That's why I wanted that phone number. I'm gonna call him tomorrow and see where he's at, but
I was with him yesterday. I went up,
yeah. I'm not sure he understands
not yesterday, but,
where we are.
Tuesday, and he's just, he's at, what's that, so.
Where are we at with the number of people? Do we want to put that in here? Do we want to leave that as an open door?
Do you wanna wait?
I feel comfortable waiting.
I do too,
This is at least,
but we
What we
need to
need
get.
to-
something.
I think
This, you got a lot of meat and potatoes right here.
I think that, Tara, I think that we can revisit the number of people after we as the board see what goes on and how it works. Maybe the meeting after, the week after, the meeting after we go in as a board and see how things go, we'll put it on that agenda.
okay.
All right? Because I think it's a very valid question, but I don't know if we can answer it right now.
Yeah.
So if we were there the third week in June, I'm hoping it's before that, but I'm just being hypothetical. We could certainly revisit it at the next scheduled board meeting. We'll put it right on the agenda for that night. All right?
I found an error that I'm taking out, but other than that, is this policy, does it look good? Is it acceptable until we don't?
I think it's a great policy to start with.
Mhm.
And then on that meeting after we
Then we'll change.
after we can make changes if we see are crazy. We could also set a time in, say, August, right, the first meeting in August. We can revisit this policy and the way the transfer station is going after we run it for a month or 2 months or whatever we run, because you may not have all the answers the first couple of weeks. I'm sure we're not going to.
First week of August. It's gonna be absolutely crazy in July with all the permits.
So let's put that on the agenda for first meeting in August.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Right? It's gonna give us several weeks of operation. So we'll add the transfer station right now for the first meeting in August, regular scheduled meeting. And we can revisit, and then at that point, we certainly can change this policy.
Yeah.
Procedure. We can change anything we need to at that point. And if we have it on the agenda, and we can certainly add something
we see
quicker if we need to,
something.
right?
Yeah.
That's dangerous or totally crazy or is not working, right? We can certainly change that, so. Okay, so we got the policy down, our operating plan. Let's get jump right to the top to the rules. Everybody read those?
Yes.
Jump to the rules, right? We went to the top.
Yeah, the rules, I don't usually have much to do with, Tom. Just sends them to me.
Yep,
You said that's retired July first. I put it because the permit goes to July 31st. I said, we'll stop taking tires.
well, we're gonna talk about that.
Okay.
But we may have to this year because the permit that people are operating on right now
Mhm.
goes to the 31st of July, right?
Correct.
Okay, all right. And that's, I think you're right. We have to take tires till the 31st of July because that's what we put in. That's how we sold permits last year.
Of course, they're eliminated on the free dump dates.
Yeah, so that's, okay.
Signature and pass it.
Yes, please.
While we're talking about this, we didn't order the containment for the barrels yet, right?
Not yet.
Okay, so Tom and I both researched this out. We came up with the same idea. I did this the Thursday night, our last meeting, I went home and looked at this up. I think using 255-gallon drums, Tom and I have discussed this.
Yeah.
I think using, 255-gallon drums, we can buy a containment, receptacle for those drums. For say $250, it's $260, I don't know, there's different ones.
Something like that.
Something around $250. And that, we put the barrel on that containment area.
Mhm.
If a barrel bursts, develops a leak, whatever, that containment will hold 66 gallons, is
Right.
that right? So
Right.
it was,
Something we looked at.
That's right.
Same thing.
That's right.
It must be identical.
Yeah, I'm sure they are, whatever. I just punched it into my phone when I was laying in bed and came up. I think that's the way to go with our used oil receptacle. We can load it with the backhoe into one of the town trucks. We have an outlet that'll take that oil right now that does from our highway department. We deliver it, so to speak, to them and they unload it off our truck with their equipment and it's gone. And we just put another barrel in. So we should have one empty barrel there almost all the time.
Be able to do a rotation.
That's right.
Will we get barrels back from them?
Right, he's,
I think it's a rotation, Carl. I mean, Joel brings a barrel back type.
That's what I want to make sure of, that when all of a sudden we bring barrels there, they don't come back.
Well, we may have to, buy or find a barrel or two, but I'm sure there's plenty of 55-gallon drums that people want to get rid of that have had oil in them that are sitting somewhere. So I just think that's the best way. I think it's our cleanest way. I think it's going to look the best. Tom and I discussed this. I think it's very easy. The people bring their container in, they dump the oil into our 55-gallon drum.
Yeah.
Then they take care of their container.
Yeah.
No containers. It's a self-contained area. It's going to be clean. It's going to be neat.
Yeah.
And it's going to be easy to deal with.
Yeah.
And I think our insurance company and everybody else that comes and does inspections is going to look at that and be very happy with
They'll
it.
be very happy with that.
That's what, and that's part of the goal too, right? So I know we could buy this without it, but I'd like to entertain a motion to buy that
I'll make that motion.
containment center for 255 gallon.
Seconded.
So containment center and 255-gallon drum.
I don't know if we have to buy the drums.
Joel had one lease, I think he said.
Yeah,
I don't know, but if we do buy them, make sure it's a steel drum. I don't
yeah, we don't want plastic drums.
know, plastic ones.
So, I can check with Joel on that. Do we want to add in that motion to buy 2 barrels if we need to?
Yeah, we might as well. I'll amend my thing to say 2 barrels if needed.
Okay. I'm sure we can find a third one.
I'll second the amended motion.
Any discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I just wanted, while we were thinking about that, I'm looking at it, I just want to get it done. Yep.
I do have a suggestion with regard to these rules though.
Sure.
I think it could be really helpful at the end if we just include a really simple clause that says these rules or regulations may be amended or changed with 30 days notice or immediately in case of emergency. I think it would be helpful to give us ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
room.
Yeah.
That's fine, Gene.
Perfect. I think that can be just added right in there at the end.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Okay. That's a good idea.
Well, I'll go ahead and just start taking that shelving unit stuff down right inside the door there and get rid of those,
You can order that containment center, whatever the one, I'm sure it's exactly the same one that we looked at. It sounds like it.
whatever price is lower, because I got a feeling it's the same thing. It's just one manufacturer these guys are selling,
Right.
reselling, you know.
Depends on the distributor.
They're retailing that the other guy.
Does anybody have anything else on the rules? That Tom has here? I think they're,
Pretty straightforward.
Oh, excuse me, I did add in the price list, Carl's recommendation for the 25 cents a quart for the oil.
Yep.
And then, it's a buck for the gallon can, but then they have the 5 quart can, so I'm charging. $1 a quarter for that.
right.
But-
Yeah, I saw that. Actually, I was looking at it, I was looking for it in the rules section, and then when I got down to the fee schedule, I saw it down there, because it's like, oh shit, that needs to be put in there, so. But no, we're good.
Well, I'm gonna have to make some signs up that I can make up and laminate and stuff about, the tires and charging for oil starting, July 1st and all this stuff. But the tires go to the 31st. Yeah, I'll make those up and put them around there, but that doesn't make anybody read them.
Well, that's right.
But at least they're posted.
Okay, so we're good.
Before we move on, I just have a quick question in regards to the rules, so still on topic. We say the insurance company discourages our employees from helping people basically move their stuff, but it's not in the rules.
That's a really good point.
That is
I think we should add that to the rules.
We add that to it.
Sorry.
Well, I think it would be good for the public to know that.
We can
I'm
send
trying to
you,
squeeze this in just so I have 4 pages. That's.
change your font.
Change your font down a little bit.
It's the formatting on his thing.
I'll cheat it in there somehow.
You
I'll
should
take
see
care
me
of
trying
that
to,
tomorrow.
the formatting. I don't
Yeah, that would be wise.
That's another great point.
Okay,
It's gonna be right into the moment.
And also the typo at the top for will not take tires as a of.
Anything else?
as a,
as of,
Yeah. That's why we need to have,
why you're here.
editors here.
You are, I got 5 editors right here.
I went to business school, and I could type great, but
I
it's
okay.
arthritis.
Yeah.
It's awful now. I hit 2 keys at the same time. It's awful.
I'm not gonna lie, when it's quiet enough, talk to text is wonderful.
It is.
Really.
It's gotta be quiet. The radio going, because it'll start writing song lyrics.
If you need help, Tom, just send
Well,
me and say I need,
before I go to the print, I'm gonna have you,
okay,
edit the whole thing, just make sure.
okay.
But like I said, I'm trying to squeeze it down. I don't have to get the extra page.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Can I ask a clarification question? And I just need clarification, and there's a very good chance this is just my brain that I'm stuck. The rules with regards to brush, I'm looking at the rule about brush, taking
Right.
brush. So brush is limited to 4 inches in diameter and 8 feet in length, period. Any wood pieces over 4 inches will be accepted up to 12 inches in diameter, trimmed of all branches with 16-inch minimum and 36-inch maximum, and will be placed in a separate area. So I guess I'm confused because I think the first statement is that we're limiting it to 4, but it's not really limited to 4 if it meets the other
It's in the
requirements.
brush pile. The other
Right.
stuff is in the big pile.
Okay.
People pick it up, take it for bonfires and stuff like
Got
that.
it. Okay, so there are 2 different things. There's brush and it's defined as
And then-
4 inches or less, and then
there's
wood.
Grass and twigs too.
Perfect. Okay, thank you.
That's all free, so.
That was just my personal advocate. I needed to understand, so thank you. I get it.
And the question I'm gonna ask is, they don't run a chainsaw there to cut the pieces up there.
No.
I'm just
So that's where, so I read that too. Thank you. I almost read it. I was just a little bit confused, but I think I know the answer. So where it says, over 4 inches will be accepted up to 12 inches in diameter, trimmed of all branches with 16-inch minimum, 36-inch maximum. That's maximum length and minimum length, right? I think we should put that in there. Maximum, minimum length, maximum length. Because if you read it quick, it said 4 inches to 12 inches, and then I read 16 to 36. It's like, well, wait a minute, why are we taking trees like this?
Yeah.
But I just want to be clear, Tom, and I, for my own.
4 to 12 inches across.
Right. And 16 or 36 inches long.
Yep.
Anything under 12 inches, we're gonna take it.
Well, if it's worded the way he's just stated, that's
Right.
a
Just the
clear.
length.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that's in there. Just one word. 2 probably, 36-inch maximum. Well, just one, maximum length.
I should
Anybody else have anything on the rules?
One question on the brush. Wish I had looked at it.
Not getting out of here by 7:30.
No, I'm just gonna be quick, and I'm probably overthinking it. Brush to be dropped off in the field will be charged $2 per heap and pickup load. Trailers and other trucks will be prorated based on pickup load.
Yeah. So if you see a trailer, 12-foot trailer, so 16-foot trailer coming in that wide, that's like 5 pickup loads, 10 pickup loads, whatever it is, how much they have, how high they have it stacked. So it's just a visual thing. I'm not going out there and measuring them. But,
Okay.
we do.
Well, I think honestly, Carl, and that's a good point, but I think
That's overthinking it.
I think we can trust
Trust him to do his.
our transfer station manager to figure out if it's a 2 pickup load based on, or 3. And honestly, if you look at this, it's $2 per heaping truckload.
Yeah.
Right?
I know.
If he tells you that you got 10 truckloads,
No.
you're gonna pay $20. Right?
Yeah.
It's not like it's.
I know.
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
I had to
Yep.
say something.
Yep, that's okay.
It's what it is.
All right.
If they don't like that, they can take it to Bennington and drop it off.
That's right. And Pennington will treat them very well, maybe.
One aside when that guy came in with a flatbed trailer with a gate that lays down, he had the stuff down, he had really long stuff. I made him leave, cut it off. And, one of the guys lived on Maple Grove Road said, I see we just got a new, street sweeper. Cause it was just dragging the whole way down to the road. There was shit everywhere.
And that's what we're trying to avoid. All of that, avoid. That's right.
Yeah, don't bring that stuff in here. We're not gonna take it.
Anybody else have anything on the rules? Great, we found a few things and fixed some little minor things. Perfect. Nothing else on the rules? We're all good?
Yeah.
With the changes that we've come up with? Perfect. We're going to go into permit. So this one,
That's what the permit card looks like.
the perm, that's what so this is different than what we've been doing in the past, the way I read this. This permit expires June 30th.
Or is that my corrected one?
That was
we
her
didn't fix
correction.
that?
Well, okay, so that's what I think we should go with. And I'll tell you why. Because our fiscal year, and now's the time to change it. I know what we've done in the past, but our fiscal year goes July 1 to June 30th. And it's gonna make things a lot easier for our treasurer to track that fiscal year stuff.
They don't go on sale until July 1st.
Why?
Because
So that's fine. So they don't go on sale till July 1st. So what? They have to, but in order to dump, so they can dump right through June 30th. Let's say June 30th is a Saturday. I don't know what it is, but it's not this year, but whatever. So if June 30th is a Saturday, they can dump June 30th. Right?
Yeah,
If they need to come in on Wednesday, July, whatever it would be, 4th or
the
what.
second this year.
Well, but I'm just saying, being hypothetical, right? So if they dump on Saturday, June 30th, Wednesday, July 4th, they need to come back in. They buy their permit while they're right there, and then they go dump for fiscal year 26, 27.
I usually give them one time.
I don't think we should give them anything. Buy the permit. Tom, this is a business. It's a business.
We get them, but the thing of it is, you get a.
I know, I sat there.
She's got her bag and she's got $3 on her. The 3 1/4 is gonna be. What it is now.
I mean, I think that kind of flexibility is reasonable.
I-
I'm not gonna give people
Yeah,
a big
I
pass.
give them one free.
I think in general, it does make more sense to have the permit expire at the end of the fiscal year.
Right.
Because then you're showing a true expenditure.
It's just easier for our treasurer to track and it's more accurate.
It doesn't matter for the treasurer. because
Sure does.
Her stuff stops.
The fiscal year is the fiscal year is the fiscal year, and that's how the town runs.
The permit go on sale. They, we stop selling like this year's, the 24, 25s, and then we start selling when in July. So it doesn't,
Yes, it does.
the money doesn't cross.
Yes, it does. The fiscal year
I understand, but-
starts July 1st. So if you take money in July for a fiscal year 24,
It's not.
25 permit,
They dumped in July, right?
I just think that things should go on a fiscal year. Go ahead, Carl.
I'll settle this. I make a motion that we have the permits start in the next fiscal year
And
Well, they do start
expire,
the next
and
fiscal
expire when?
and expire at the end of that fiscal year.
Okay.
There, that's done. No more talking about it.
Second it.
Do I have any more discussion? All those in favor? And you already have it on here.
Yeah.
Oh, Tara has
I
it.
changed it and he
Oh.
was like, no, that's why we do that. So yeah, there was that back and forth
Yeah.
discussion.
Okay.
You can still give the old lady a freebie, I think.
Well, I sat there last Saturday when he did that, or 2 Saturdays ago. I sat with Tom, watching what was going on so that I could, I said I was going to, right? And I did. And the lady came in and it's like, here, just go dump today and whatever. So, which was the right thing to do. And he looked at me and it's like, it's not a board
That's what I
decision.
usually do.
I know, and that's fine. And that's totally fine. I agree with that.
But we're still selling permits. We're up to about 490, something like that. We're only 10 times what we had last year, I believe.
We have anything else on the transfer station or is that it?
That's it.
I think that's it.
Operational.
I do wanna say that I'm gonna call the electrician. I'll call him tomorrow. Gonna put a little push to try to get going. This is my plan, if the board is in agreement with this. I would love to open these compactors on a Wednesday,
Yes,
And slower.
that's the logic, yes.
okay? I wanna schedule a minimum of 3 days. And we will call them select board work sessions.
Okay,
So that if there is more than 2 select board members there helping,
yep.
Oh, I have,
Technically, we really, like, we have to record and all of that stuff, so if you.
even a work session you do?
2 select board members, we avoid a whole lot of
We just scheduled ourselves.
trouble.
I reached out to VLCT about the planning work session and you do have to record the,
Yeah,
it's
it's
the open meeting law change, we do have to record.
open meeting
Okay.
law is like really.
Okay. I was just trying to get away from-
It encompasses like everything now, every meeting you. It's, yeah.
I do have one thing to add, the railings. I contacted the gentleman that had railings out here. That's all right.
Yeah, I saw that.
I contacted
Did
him.
he get back to you?
Not yet.
Okay.
No, I didn't look at it this afternoon.
Let me know if he does it.
I'll forward anything you want.
Let me know if he doesn't. His wife is a coworker of mine.
Oh, okay.
I can,
And they're still working out back too.
yeah,
Yeah. He seems like a very, very nice.
yeah, I can.
And-
Talk to
oh,
Karen.
and Mike, we talked about that foot thing.
Mhm.
I said, why don't we just, if he's gonna be up there, have a welder, just put a 4-inch angle in there. And it won't hit the concrete. It'll keep anything from going down through. Just-
Yeah, we can think about that.
Just hang it on, all you have to do.
So one of the concerns is between the concrete, so everybody here's aware of what we're talking about.
Got 3.5, 4 inch.
Yeah, there's about a 3.5, 4 inch space between the concrete pad and the compactor that's bolted to the
Yeah,
cement.
Yeah.
So Joel brought the point up, actually, he's scared that a kid or somebody could get their foot inside of that in between the two. It's not gonna be really easy for an adult. But children shouldn't be out of the car, and that's in our rules and whatever, but we all know that may not be the case all the time.
They help.
So we have to prevent that from happening.
Yep.
And one of the things that Joel thought was like a piece of belting and we screw it down or whatever, but a piece of angle iron may be welded to that.
Yes,
Really permanent, it doesn't.
That's right.
it'll help keep debris down there also.
Yeah, well, you're gonna get debris blowing in, doesn't matter. Sure.
Right.
I
So
mean, it's bigger.
we can ask him about that when he's there.
Yeah, no, I
Jay's pretty good.
did ask him about that.
Oh,
So
okay.
I might be adding that when the,
Okay. Okay.
one is, estimate and so forth.
Okay.
All right?
Yep.
okay.
Seemed like there was one other thing I wanted to talk about. Oh, I know. Everybody had a chance to look at the aerial.
Yep,
Yes,
Okay, traffic pattern. I'll get together with you. I think we need to have it painted. I think we need to, decide what we're gonna do with that traffic pattern, but I don't think we're gonna open up before the next board meeting. So what I'd like to ask all the board members is to look at that aerial photograph. My idea and Tom's idea were to pull in, pay, go around the building, come back up and park.
Okay.
Right? And then, so I think we just need to get some parking areas, some parking signs,
Yep.
and get some arrows around there and whatever on the blacktop. But we'll bring that back real quick at the next meeting. Just look at that, everybody, in case in case I'm not seeing something or Tom or whatever, please.
I need one thing. Sharon, do you have some kind of program or something that I can label the things on, leave them on there so I can send them to the engineers for permitting, to what they are
Label what kind of.
One-
like,
one-
I don't know.
on the photograph, on the computer.
Mhm.
You do that?
Yeah, I can do that.
All right, well then.
You forward me the picture and you.
I'll get with you early next week then, hopefully.
That works.
We'll try to get that done. I'm coming in on Tuesday for the two
Yep,
things. I think Joel said he'd he's gonna come. Said, "Well, do I have to take that?" I said, "Yeah, you told me to do it."
Yep.
Okay.
So, okay, is that it?
That's it, Tom.
All right,
Thank you,
thanks so
Tom.
much.
Thank you.
I think we got a lot done here.
Yep, we're gaining.
Thank you.
All righty.
Cemetery.
We all have a nice Memorial weekend.
You too, Tom.
So as you can all see, there are over $300 worth of flowers behind me that were purchased for cemeteries, and for flagpoles around town. It's something the town does for Memorial Day every year. We are afraid if we have Tristan put them out, they will die because the weather is just like
It's been
so
cold.
cold. We've talked to numerous people that are like, they won't live, they might make it through like Saturday, Sunday, Monday, but then after that, it's gonna be even colder, apparently, which I hate to even think about, but we
Hey,
kind
at
of
least
wanted
we're not getting snow.
It's gonna be colder. I thought it was warming up. It's not.
Yeah, 'cause it's not gonna warm up.
It's not gonna warm
I
up.
heard that it's not going to warm up, so if we put them out and they die, that's $400 basically, almost 400 that we're wasting. We can wait and put them out. What does the board think?
People do care that they're out on Memorial Day, so it's a.
People absolutely will be upset if they're not out, but I feel like people are gonna be upset if they see them and they're dead. You know, it's a catch-22. I'm not sure what to.
We can't control the weather. And I hate to say it, but we do put them out for Memorial Weekend. I say we put them out. If the weather kills them, the weather kills them. I mean, it's end of May, almost beginning of June. We can't control that it got cold this late.
Yeah.
I mean,
Very true.
going forward, if people want and they're concerned about dead flowers, we could put artificial ones out going forward. I'm just saying, it is an option.
No artificial flowers in my
Mike has vetoed the idea.
Yes, I have.
I say put them out. We bought them for that. If you're gonna wait for good weather, they could sit inside.
Are you making the motion?
I will make a motion that we put the flowers out as we normally do.
I'll second that motion.
I'm just looking at the weather, but.
It's too depressing. Don't jump out.
I have a motion and I have a second. Any more discussion on that? I kind of agree. All those in favor?
Sorry, flowers. Good luck to you.
It's fine. We just didn't want to make the decision ourselves.
Yeah.
No.
No, you're right. That's our job, right? Health officer discussion and possible action.
So as you all know, our health officer resigned. We did get all of the phone and the laptop back today in the mail. So Mike is acting health officer at this point. Our previous health officer was paid for the month of May. So I'm not sure.
I forego the month of May pay.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Mike's pay will start as of June 1st.
Yeah.
Um,
We'll eliminate that one.
does the board want to
Thanks, Mike.
advertise health officer position again?
I think,
And
Yes.
are we doing this, keeping it at the same $300 stipend? 'Cause, I mean, it's a low stipend, but it's also, there's not a lot of responsibilities anymore because
there's not a lot of calls generally unless there's an incident.
Well,
dog bites is mostly, I think, what.
to be perfectly honest with you, I'm already, I had a health inspection scheduled for tomorrow, but I have not seen the email that I needed to see.
For proper request.
That's right. I've seen the proper request. But I did not see where the landlord notified the tenant
Okay,
properly.
okay.
And I asked for that. Okay, because it needs to be 48 hours.
Yep.
Okay. I had it all set up for the sheriff's department to go with me tomorrow, which I'll text him and cancel that. I had a call tonight about, apparently there's raw sewage going on the ground in another place. So I'm not sure if the health officer is gonna be active, if there's gonna be, I know there's less responsibilities, but I think there could be more involvement with the responsibilities that are there.
Mhm.
And that's, I think, because I think it was so non-existent for a while.
Right.
I also liked your point, to be perfectly honest with you, but I have a question about it. with instead of advertising this position all the time, which we never get anybody to fill the position. And then when we do, it just seems like it's a failure. So do we add that to the chairperson of the select board? If you're the chairperson, you're also the health officer for the town? Now, the only question I have with that is, you know, the rules like as well as I do. If the chairperson changes, then is it a forced resignation from the health officer? And I don't think that there's a problem with that. But the health officer is also a state
appointed.
Yeah, I think by
Appointed, not-
statute, I think by statute, your term would expire.
Okay, I just
Because
let's look into that.
It would expire at the end of your, March.
Right, I think we should look into that.
Okay.
If we did say that was part of the select board chair's duties moving forward. I would just want to make sure that position expired when your term ended or whatever as the chairperson.
Are you sure you want to take that on too?
I do.
Okay,
Like
I think you
that.
should.
okay.
I think it should go hand in hand with, and I think we need to look at this next year.
Zoning
I think it should go-
administrator?
Yes, exactly. I think
That
it should go
makes
hand.
sense.
I think it should go
Seneca does
hand-
that.
But I didn't want to bring that up right now because we can talk about,
Before.
yeah,
That is what makes sense. to
Combining
me.
them.
Yeah.
That it goes hand in hand with the zoning administrator. I
Mhm.
agree.
Do you remember what the reasons were we didn't combine them?
I don't.
I think because we actually got an applicant.
Because we had two separate
Yeah,
people. to
I don't remember the
Yeah.
reason, but I think that's what it was.
Every time we've considered it, it's
We have-
because we didn't have applicants and then we're on the verge of it and then we have people apply.
And I just think we stop beating this same dead horse.
Mhm.
We
Just combine it with zoning and be
somebody
done with it.
else, the zoning is fine.
Yeah.
And move forward with that, and that probably would eliminate because the zoning administrator's a 3-year position, so we'd have a health officer for at least 3 years.
That makes sense.
And I think the health officer is 3, yeah. They would have to be separate job descriptions.
Mhm.
Right.
Because the health officer is by statute, but we can, look into it.
Right, I just think that's the
Bring it
next thing.
back to the next regular meeting. Instead of advertising, I should research into the options of.
Yes,
Mhm.
I think so.
Arizona. Okay.
I believe it. And I'm fine doing it now. I have especially right now, my workload. I got 10 days, I get 10 more days of pure hell and then I'm home free.
Summertime.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got plenty to do in the summer, don't get me wrong, but I got 10 more days of brutalness and then I'm
But who's
good.
counting, right?
What's that?
I said, who's counting though, right?
I'm counting. Actually, it's not even 10, it's 9 because there's only 4 days next week. I'm good. Everybody good with the health officer? We're good with that?
Yep.
Mhm.
Okay. Pay increase for the highway employees, discussion and possible action.
So, a while back when Joel came, he was going to think about hiring another employee. But then he decided it would be better if he could give the guys that he has a bump in pay. And because we had a buildings and grounds position with some money left over in his wage line, Ellen helped me crunch the figures and we found that we could give them a 10% increase, which is a couple of dollars or close to it. And we could start it now and it would, we have the budget to continue it through the next fiscal year if the board so chooses.
So if we give them a 10% increase, what will that put them at hourly?
Are they at 21?
They're 21, if it was 23 then?
21.70, I thought it was 21.70.
Yeah, it's almost, I think it's just under 20.
21.69.
Yeah, it's just under $22 now.
So what would it take to get them to 25? And the reason I'm asking is because like Williamstown, I think starts at like 30 or close to that. And I know that we have trouble keeping people on our road crew and we need a road crew. And I know they work really hard.
Williamstown has much
I know.
tax base and
I totally get it.
college and it's hard to compete with them.
Yeah.
We can compete with other towns that have the same, like other towns in Vermont that have the same population and amount of roads and
Yeah.
all of that. To get them to 25, I think if we start in November, really looking at the budget and increasing the budget to make sure they get that,
Mhm.
that's when to do it, I think.
Okay.
I totally agree I agree with everything that's been said right here. I agree with the fact that, there's no secret that our road crew is aging. There's no secret that the days of a person working for their town, whether it's this town or any other town in the entire country. There's a sense, there used to be a sense of pride, and we have that with our road crew.
Right.
But there's, that sense of pride doesn't run real deep anymore. You work for
Nope.
your town, right?
Yeah,
Because you work for money.
yeah, but we've all got bills to pay.
Right.
Those people that work for their town and take a less or lesser amount of money.
Yeah.
They don't run that deep anymore. Like it used to be, there used to be a sense of pride that, you had a town of Pownell shirt and that's who you work for. That's, our guys have that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that at all, because our guys have that and it runs very deep in their blood, for sure. It's just not there. So I think Jeannie's right. I think we need to bring that pay scale up. I think right now, if we can give them a 10% increase right now, I think we do it.
2338.
Yeah.
And
that's
then
not
revisit
that
that again
far.
in November.
What's that?
Revisit it again in November to increase.
When we do that,
When we start.
Budgeting.
Yeah.
when we start budgeting, I think we revisit that and we give them as much as we can see possible to give them.
And then we can have some time to do some figures, comparative figures to other towns and that
Right.
kind of stuff.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
But I think everybody's right here. I think everybody's right.
The problem with comparing to Williamstown is Williamstown, it's a great place, but they're in another world. They don't
I totally
They
get
don't
that.
participate in downturns in the economy. I'm
I-
sorry, they just don't.
No, I agree. I totally get that. And the only reason I made the comparison to Williamstown is because unfortunately that's where we lose people to, I think, that would be potential candidates. Someone is.
We have lost people to Williamstown.
You're 100% right.
And Bennington.
Like,
Yeah.
We're fucking.
We have to,
larger.
unfortunately, Carl, unfortunately,
Yes.
fortunately, you're 100% right. Right down, Williamstown doesn't seem to find that downside. But unfortunately, the person who is going to apply for a job for the town crew in Pownell is also going to drive the 4 or 5 miles south or the 8 miles north to do the same job for a lot more money and the same benefits.
Does the person that takes our job have to live in Pownell?
I don't think we've ever
I don't
had
think we
that.
ever
No.
had.
No, but you're making the assumption that
So the person that lives in Bennington,
Mike, you're preaching to the choir here. But all I was saying was you can almost compare more to Bennington than.
I wouldn't do that because Bennington starts higher than Williamstown.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
they have colleges, they have.
Right.
I understand.
They have.
What are you talking, Bennington?
Yeah, it's.
Bennington don't have no colleges left. Well,
We have to get away from that.
Right.
If we're going to get quality employees for the town, and when you're putting somebody in a $200,000 dump truck or a $250,000 road grader,
Want somebody with.
do you want a quality employee that's gonna take care of that piece of equipment that we're spending a lot of money on? Or do you want an ass to fill a seat?
Exactly.
Okay,
not
because
behind the wheel.
If we can't get employees to do it, we're gonna be subcontracting and
and
spending.
that's gonna cost a lot more money.
Yes.
So unfortunately, I know we're not comparing apples to apples, but we also have to compare, I don't know this for sure, but I've heard that Reifenberg right now is starting guys out $35 an hour as a
I went
labor.
down.
As a laborer
Yeah,
with a shovel.
yeah.
Not a lot of responsibility there.
Kind of hard when,
But
they don't have those laborers anymore.
Right, that's getting off topic too, but, so I think we're all right here. I think we need to give these guys 10%. Ellen has crunched the numbers and Tara, and we can do it.
Yeah,
We're not
there's no
behind the eight ball.
there's no increase to the taxes on that part of it. They've got the money in the budget. I say,
Is there a motion?
I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we follow the road foreman's recommendation to absorb the old position and give their standing employees, standing road crew the 10% increase.
And that is,
Effective next week?
Yes,
and that is for full timers?
Yes.
Yes, it was
Yeah.
our part-time didn't change.
Okay,
Yep, good point, Carl. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Any more discussion? All those in favor? Policy review discussion.
So I sent all the policies around and I know Jeannie has some that she wants to speak to, but I only have one that I would like to discuss. Do you wanna go first, Jeannie, or you want me to?
Sure. Go.
On the purchasing policy, I would just like to request that we remove under the major purchases. There's a section that says all purchases over 5,000 require prior approval from the select board. It then says the executive assistant shall review all proposed procurements, yada, yada. The executive assistant shall ensure that competition is not restricted to the limits. I don't believe that it's even feasible for me to do this all the time when we have department heads making purchases. So I would just like to request that it says the purchaser is responsible. Because if they're an approved purchaser, according to this purchasing policy, they should be following this
Yeah.
policy.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily fair for me to have to be the one. Sometimes I don't even know they're making a purchase.
Right.
and per their job description, they can do the purchase. And they're supposed to be following our purchasing policy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so, no, I agree that's a legitimate request for change.
And these, the auditors review our policies and then they check to make sure large purchases we've made are in line with our policies.
Right.
And this basically says they can throw me under the bus if it's not done
Right,
in accordance with our purchasing policies.
That's-
I'd just like people to be held accountable for their own.
I know
What's
initially,
while we're talking about that, what is the limit on the purchasing policy there, 5,000?
Well, so major purchases are all purchases over 5,000. Minor purchases are between 1 and 5,000, and that's also with prior approval from the select board. I know there is lots of conversation about this policy. We've changed it many times. I don't see an issue with getting three prices for things. I think it's important that we do that. There's a reason we have this to ensure that we're not being fraudulent, that we're seeking fair prices, that we're, doing things above board. So that's why
that was a set standard that was
it's
been
federal standard. It's
for a
a
long time.
Do we
federal standard.
pay this? And I don't know the answer to those, and I should. Do we pay to belong to, like, we're in, I think it's called Source, where we supposed to get the best deal if we go to Source, because Source prices out, say, a backhoe, right? Or whatever.
I know the point you're trying to make because.
But do we pay, do we pay to?
Not pay to be a
Okay,
part of that.
okay.
And if our purchasing policy was written that we would use Quill or one of those to do our research on bids for us, that would be different, but that's not the way it's written.
I understand. I was just curious if we paid, but then the reason I asked is if we pay to use Quill or Source or whatever, it would be kind of foolish to keep paying them if we're gonna get 3 bids of our own, right?
And then I
And that's the only thing I was getting at.
Right.
There are times that there is one person, one vendor you can get the part from.
Right.
But we still need the department head to come in and say to the board, I can only get this $8,000 part in one location.
Right.
Do I have your approval to do that?
Hit you up with an email.
When the auditor comes in and says, where is your bids? I have no documentation to show that you approved that at all. Or that discussion ever happened. Or any of you, we need that backup. It's.
Right. That's part of the transparency that we've been standing.
Yeah, and it just ensures that we're all following it and it's,
And the original reason why that language was, I believe, put in there was because we were hoping that our department heads were following our policy and that you could verify that it had been done as another layer of the two-part, the whole piece where we updated our system, where there was always a two-part
Right.
checks and balances.
And often we do still do the checks and balances piece, which is sometimes how I find out about purchases. That's why I'm saying this part has to
No.
change.
I understand why you're requesting that. But I just want to be clear, on I believe the reason why we have that language in there also.
It just, like, when we put things out for bid or when we buy a large purchase, we keep all of those, the 3 price quotes, we keep the bid if we put one out, if it was in the banner, it all goes into a folder. You know, so if we're asked for it, we can pull it and provide it to our auditors. If we don't have it, if we didn't do it, it's not that we get in trouble necessarily, but then there's an audit finding that needs to be addressed.
So what's your requested language change? How do you want this to read?
Because up above it says purchasing agents, I would just, instead of the executive assistant shall review all proposed, it should say the purchasing agent instead of the executive assistant. So whoever's making the purchase
It's responsible to
is
ensure.
responsible to review those and make sure that they're doing it the way the policy says.
Mhm.
So the purchasing agent would be
The purchaser.
Joel
Or
or
Darcy,
Department head.
or myself.
or you.
Brianna,
Right, right, okay.
Julie,
Just so we're all clear, that's all. I
yeah, all the people that are
understand.
listed right here on the purchasing agent.
Ready to make a motion unless somebody else wants to.
Go for it. You make the motion. You started already talking.
Well, I think we need to make that motion. The motion that we need to make is to have Tara rewrite that policy and bring it back to us to approve with different language.
I would second that motion.
Right, Tara? Does that sound where you rewrite that? The way you would feel comfortable with it? So the only question I have is, while we're rewriting that policy, do we change the numbers? Because $5,000 doesn't buy a whole bunch.
I was gonna bring that up too. I know we recently changed it before I got off the board of the vet's home to 10,000.
I thought we changed it here.
And I thought we were I know we discussed it and I thought we were.
We kept it at this limit because these are the federal standards.
Yeah, I thought we had changed it, but
I think we only discussed it and we kind of tabled it.
yeah, okay. And I'm just bringing it up now because we're changing the policy and
But
I'm fine, I don't have any, feelings one way or the other. I just wanted to say, okay, what are we,
what else?
what else do we change on that if we're changing it? And do a one-shot deal.
Do you think
If everybody's comfortable with 5, that's fine. I just, in today's world,
Yeah. That's
$5,000 doesn't buy 2 tires for the grader.
Nope.
Maybe, but probably not.
But what is the difference between under $5,000 and over $5,000?
Come on, Carl, you were better than that.
No, I'm asking a question that could be said out.
I'm just kidding.
I know, but I'm asking a question so it's said out loud. If I purchase something and I'm a designated purchaser and I can buy, I still have to come to the select board, even though it's less than $5,000. Am I correct?
Between 1 and 5.
Between 1 and 5.
Between $1,000 and $5,000.
Except for the exemptions, if you go and look at the exemption part, it's a little bit different. And it says that they can purchase up to 10,000 basically, but it says inherent nature of emergency situations. So then again, it boils down to what's an emergency and what's not.
Exactly the definition of what exactly is an emergency.
I'm not gonna, I
Okay, that's fine.
this till I
understand.
debated it so much that I don't like this policy anymore. It's not very nice.
Motion on rewriting the policy with the language as we discussed.
Any more discussion? Have a motion, have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Great. I only have one policy, that I wanted to talk about and make a recommended change to this policy. And that is the town attorney policy. And my recommended change is based on the fact that it has an internal contradiction on its reading. So under the process, there are 4 points to the process. And again, this is specifically about, and it governs how we correspond or talk to the town attorney. So the third point here says, prior to contacting the town's attorney, staff, board members, elected officials must first seek permission from the select board chair and one other board member, period. Directly below that, it says one-on-one communication between select board members and the town's attorney via email or otherwise is prohibited. And I think that that should be struck from the policy because right above it, it anticipates your need to have a conversation with the attorney sometimes. Depending on what we're working on, like, I mean, we have things going on right now where you're having conversations with
Then
you.
would you change that to chair and vice chair?
What I would change, no, I wouldn't. I would just change it to as long as there is a chair and one board member aware of it. Because I don't know who's going to be available or not. As long as 2 of us are aware that someone needs to have a conversation with the town attorney, then I think we have the ability to okay that. Because if you go to the top, right, again, with direction from the select board, the town of Pownell's attorney shall be contacted via email by the executive assistant, right? So if we don't have a mechanism here where a select board member can contact the town attorney, then we have a situation where the executive assistant is able to, at the direction of the select board, contact the town attorney, but no one on the select board is able to do that.
Right, but that,
Oh, I think, I don't know, but I think the attorney was sort of, what's the word I want to use, weaponized in a way.
Mhm.
By one,
that's a good point.
Yeah.
one or even more board members or officials or whatever against others. So I think that's why the policy, why they tried to do it this way.
Well,
Go ahead, Jamie.
so I believe we did this. Everything that you just said is correct. Any select board member can reach out to VLCT, their legal department, even though they'll give you an answer and say you should confer with your town attorney, but if you look up statute, the town attorney is going to give you the same answer 99% of the time. And it's just so we don't all individually ask whether it's the same question or a different question, but
We racked up
we don't,
thousands in attorney fees.
yes,
With people asking questions to the attorney that
individual,
could easily have been sent to VLCT.
yes.
And there were circumstances where you had multiple board members asking the same question all independently to the lawyer, and every email was like, well, there's $100, there's $100, there's $100. And so then when you see that email chain of like
Yeah.
one sentence correspondence back and forth, and you're like, holy crap, that's $1,000 conversation there.
I get it.
And
That was the reasoning behind it.
Okay,
Yes.
so that, I totally get that. That makes sense to me. Because I know how easy it is to rack up lawyers' fees. And I know what lawyers are charging, right? So I agree, we have to be careful with that. I completely agree with this. But what I'm saying is this policy as it's written appears to be internally inconsistent. So what I
Do
would,
you have a recommendation for how to better word it?
yes, what I would recommend then is hearing all of those concerns. Make a lot of sense from me. Either the staff. Do that, but then you have you have a clause underneath it which says, actually, you can't do that. And so it's going to be one-on-one, but after someone is granted permission. So you still have that safeguard there, right? We know the things that are in front of us. We know the things that we're talking to our town attorney about or might come up. So there's a safeguard. So someone isn't, I agree. It's nuts to have, what, 5 different board members?
Right.
Asking the town attorney the same thing, but if you have 2 other board members,
But how does the rest of the
Well,
board know about that
yeah.
conversation?
then I think it gets
If I'm
reported.
on-
No. How do we end up? You're speaking for us when you and the chair talk to the board. Well, maybe the attorney, maybe we have different thoughts. I feel more comfortable that that's the conversation that we all have, and then we appoint somebody to talk to the lawyer. I am very weary about this. Well, there's 2 of us and we can go contact a lawyer. I'm sorry, no, that bad thing's gonna end up happening.
Well, that's the way the policy's written right now.
So
That's the way the policy's written right now.
take that out, have it so that, and for somebody to go talk to, we talk about it as a board.
And what do you do in emergency instances where something comes up? Right, we contemplate potential emergencies in multiple policies at this point. We're like.
Then it would be the chair and vice chair.
well, anytime we.
Excluding if neither one of them was applied, then it would be one other person.
Anytime we've had an emergency. we
Okay,
send
that's
out
what it
emails.
says.
Yeah,
So
the
the board
reason,
knows, and then that the chair, executive assistant, vice chair is conferring due to the circumstance.
I think there's a
That way the
couple,
whole board is knowledgeable of the situation.
I think there's a couple ways to fix this, right? And I'm not sure what Jeannie has for ideas.
Right.
Okay, I have no idea. So I think the one-on-one communication was, because it was weaponized,
Mhm.
right? The attorney was weaponized. I think there's a couple things in here that are missing as I look at this. Nowhere in our policy does it state that our commissions and boards, such as the DRB, Planning Commission, Conservation Commission, it doesn't state in here that they can't, as I read this, it doesn't state in here that they can't contact the town's attorney.
Well, they would need direction from the select board though.
Well, do they? I mean,
It says it right there,
Yeah,
what does it say?
right at the top, with the direction from the select board.
right. They have to have,
They'll be contacted through me, basically, is the first one.
But it doesn't say that they can't contact. Sorry,
That is a cool effect.
no. That sounded pretty cool there, didn't it?
It did.
It's with direction from the select board, the town of Pownell's attorney shall be contacted via email by the executive assistant. But it doesn't say they can't.
okay, yeah, I see where you're going.
It
It's not
really
clear.
doesn't say anywhere that the only, and I think it needs to be,
It also should change where it says including
clear,
select board
I
chair and
understand.
vice chair. I can't do that if we're including Jeannie because she's on the lawyer expertise day.
That was my next point.
And the problem was excluding the vice chair out of that equation because the chair and vice chair should both have equal knowledge so that if there's all of a sudden I kick off or Mike kicks off,
Hey.
there's somebody that is,
He put himself first at least.
I put myself first.
I know. Thank you for that. I also think that in here, so I think this needs to be a little bit more defined. Because it doesn't really say that. So let's say it's chair and vice chair, contact the lawyer over whatever, right? I don't, and maybe I'm missing it, and I could very well be missing it, but it doesn't say in here that correspondence to the rest of the board will be in a timely fashion. I don't know how to word that the right way.
That's fine, I can add that.
You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Where if Carl and I go to the lawyer about whatever,
Any emergency.
some sort of an emergency, right? Where, and maybe it's here and I'm just not seeing it. Where does it say that the rest of the board will be
Notified within 24 hours.
well, or whatever?
Yep, that sounds fine. But what this also would do, for example, is give you and Carl the ability to allow Jamie to reach out to the attorney or someone else. So that members of the board have the ability to have a conversation with permission first.
Right, but that would only be in an emergency situation.
Or
Otherwise, it would be a vote of the board. And that's what I'm really push towards a vote of the board because I think we all should be involved when we turn around and send somebody to the lawyer.
Well, that's what I'm saying here. We don't have a mechanism to notify the rest of the board in a timely fashion, right? So tomorrow, let's just be hypothetical. Tomorrow, you and I have to go to the lawyer over something that happened. Where's the mechanism in this policy that the rest of this board knows about it tomorrow afternoon or Monday or whatever? You see what I'm saying? There's no mechanism in here that would say they're not notified until the next board meeting.
I mean, the mechanism would be that the executive assistant notifies the rest of the board in a timely manner. And
Right, but we don't have that in here for her to do.
Oh, no, I agree. We can add that.
I know.
Yeah, I got you.
And I'm not trying to add more to you. I'm trying to, right. No, I understand.
making a clarification.
Yeah, I just want to be, and I think that some of this was done kind of in haste for particular reasons and we didn't really have one and we just kind of hastily got something put together, right? So I think now it does need to be revisited and I think we're probably in a good spot to do it.
That is fine. I'm happy to redraft this and take this and bring it to her.
Do we kind of like an emergency is something that has to be attended to right away?
That impacts life, property, or is otherwise time sensitive.
Correct. I just think that to make sure that we put a connotation exactly what a definition of emergency is.
Well, I don't know if you can do that, Carl, because there's going to be certain people going to have a different perception of what an emergency is. I think with the chair and vice chair,
Okay.
I think they can say it is or isn't an emergency and agree one way or the other, right?
I
And if they
agree.
don't,
And then they notify the board that this is an emergency and this is what we're going to do.
if it's not, if the two people can't agree whether it's an emergency or not, then it's probably not an emergency.
There you go.
I'm fine with that. I don't really care what it says, what the mechanism is, but I don't like is internally inconsistent policies. That makes me nuts. Because then it sets people up for having difficulty complying on compliance. So I think it needs to be clear to everybody.
Okay.
Great. I'll redraft and we can look at it again the next.
Anything else on policy? Spend enough time on that one. Well, needed to be done. Okay. Updated job description. E91 coordinator.
Hannah worked on these and sent them all to you. So yeah, there was the three, Hannah's updated one, board secretary and the E911 position.
What's your pleasure? Want to do one at a time or all three?
All three.
Everybody have time to read those over and
Earlier.
everybody good with the updated job descriptions?
Right now, yes, but I'm sure in a year or two from now, we will want to change things.
Or next week?
Or next week.
Or next
Hopefully not this.
As things grow, how that happens.
Yeah,
Sure.
things change and,
You know,
I'll entertain a motion to approve the updated job descriptions for the E911 coordinator, board secretary and administrative assistant.
I'll make that motion.
Can I ask a question? I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, do I have a second? Okay, now discussion. Sorry, Jean.
So thinking about your job description, like, that's a pretty big job description. You feel good with that? Like, I presume,
Have you seen all of them?
yeah. I think your job description is nuts, quite frankly. I mean, I think they feel unwieldy, even just to, and I understand, like, when you're breaking down your daily work, it's really hard to say, when you're documenting every single thing, it's huge. I just want to make, everybody is good with their job description. That's what I'm asking. Okay,
Thank you.
okay, okay.
They are long.
Yeah.
But they're,
That's okay.
eh.
As long as they're
you
accurate.
can just have it be one word, just everything.
Yeah.
Whatever needs to be done.
Yep.
as other
Windows.
duties are
Yeah.
assigned.
Windows, garbage removal, whatever.
All good.
Anything else? Any more discussion on that? You good, Jeannie?
I'm good.
The way we're.
Have a motion, I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Employee performance review discussion and schedule.
Oh, I didn't do that.
Okay, so I sent out the performance evaluation reviews. There are self-evaluations. I did send them to Ellen and Julie also in case they want to. Of course, they're not required. But I'm just wondering what the board would like to do for a schedule, because when we established this review procedure, you all discussed meeting with department heads after they sort of collect all of their employees' self-evaluations, and then you'll meet with department heads. And I think you all wanted to meet with Hannah and Wendy yourselves and me.
Mhm.
So I was thinking, like, if we plan before a regular in June, or we can plan a special in June to do those. Just wondering what the board would like.
I mean, I think it's, yeah, I mean,
And I can give everybody a deadline, like, you're coming in on this date, please have done.
Do we want to do one department head a meeting, or do we want to do a special and just cram all three, everybody in?
That's what I'm wondering.
Well, I think they all should be done before
July?
July 1.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the fiscal year. So, I think if we schedule a special in June, and just do all of them,
Get them done.
get them
Agreed.
done in one shot.
Yeah.
I mean, they really should be fairly quick. It's either gonna be
Thank you.
it should be fairly.
Yeah.
I would think we could schedule each department for, 20 minutes or something like that and be done. Does that
Yeah.
sound reasonable?
Yep.
And if something happens, then we can go over or whatever. I mean, we can certainly adjust.
Do we have a preference for a special? Because looking ahead, the 19th is a holiday for us. So our regulars are 12th and 26th. The 5th is probably too soon.
Yeah.
What's the?
But we could do like a Tuesday
Yeah, that's fine.
or something. Okay, I will send,
We have a regular the 26th.
yes.
For the 12th and the 26th.
What if we did it that Tuesday of that week, if it works?
24.
Yeah. I couldn't do the math in my head for a minute there.
Do you have a planning or anything?
No, that's actually probably the only week that would work.
Okay.
I'm gonna be here for it. I'll be out of town. I'll be at Poconos.
Jeez, Brian.
Anniversary.
Yeah, because third and
Need to buy-
No, that's not it.
And the 10th would be fun comments, that's not.
So why don't we schedule it for that, for the 24th, and then we can have it on the agenda for the 26th, that the evaluations have been completed, and
Okay. Sounds good.
And Brian, don't forget, you can zoom in.
Oh, I forgot to tell you, we're dry camping. There's no power.
Oh.
yeah, I'd like to see, I want to see photos of that, but
I can't, my camera won't work. There's no power.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. V-Trans Bicycle and Pedestrian Grant Program discussion and possible action.
So there's a V-Trans grant that, I received an email about, and I spoke with Nate Fowle, he's on Concom and Parks and Rec. And he had kind of offered himself and Tom Zolper and Alexandra and a couple others want to help with grant writing. So I said, I think this is the perfect one to start with, once I get permission from the board. And he already looked and found an idea to use it for a demonstration project. So the goal would be to demonstrate what crosswalks and blinking lights would do for Route 7 safety. The areas that I'm thinking, and Nate, I think, agrees with me, is the other end of Center Street with a crosswalk across to the school street. And I know Schoolhouse Road, I believe. And then at North Pownell Road to go across to the elderly community that is there. And those were recommended by BCRC when they did the studies to, and a couple other studies to increase the connectivity to those two main areas of the village center or the town center. So that would be the goal, to apply for that grant, to implement a study, basically.
I mean, I think it's great. I think we need a focus on pedestrian safety, location wise. So that would be the initial study, and then we could build from that, because the place that I see people crossing all the time is between Winchester's and then
Yes.
across. That's where I'm always worried that someone is gonna get hit and killed that far. I see folks running across that constantly.
Someone has been hit there.
Yeah, recently.
We were talking about that.
More than one
Yeah.
person has been hit there.
That'd be nice if you did that and then link the stuff down in Pownell, like the church and the library.
Depending on cost and that sort of thing,
Right.
maybe we could do all three. I'm not sure. We would have to.
If they could explore that, that would be great. And then maybe we could come back and talk about locations, but I agree that there's definitely a need for this.
So yeah, just initial steps right now, just seeking permission to apply for the funding.
What's board pleasure?
I would make a motion giving permission to apply for the funding for the V-Trans and bicycle pedestrian grant.
Second that.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. SWIP discussion, it's,
You're next.
Scott Grimline.
Thank you for waiting patiently, Scott.
Yeah, no problem.
You
Thanks,
can pull up a chair, you can stand at your choice.
thanks for, accommodating my schedule, Tara. Congratulations on your, award on today. Yeah, so, last time I spoke to you, it was largely about that village center plan you're just referencing. Now I have my other hat on, which is the solid waste, district manager for the, Bennington County Solid Waste Alliance. The Bennington County Solid Waste Alliance, is a interlocal contract between 13 towns that are all, largely in Bennington County. One is located in Windham County, which is why we also have a letter at the back of the plan I sent you from the Windham County Regional Commission saying that our plan is both compliant with theirs as well as the Bennington County Regional Commission compliance letter. The solid waste implementation plan is largely a tool that we need to register with the state every 5 years to say, this is how we are going to meet the requirements laid out in the state's materials management plan, which is just a law that applies to all of the towns throughout the state related to requirements about doing school outreach, business outreach,
and other education efforts related to the, recycling, trash collection, food scrap ban, all of the other solid waste laws that exist within the state. And also, related to how we will manage the household hazardous waste facility that, that we operate out of Bennington. A couple of additional, items have been added to it this year. There's a couple of additional items related to the, website that are just some basic updates related to making so the text can get larger for ADA compliance and color, making sure that there are options for people who need website accessibility. And then the other new item is that the Solid Waste Alliances throughout the state are expected to work with each individual town and with your emergency management crew within those towns in order to identify and plan for post-flood debris collection and management. So that's something that has been worked into the plan and that we will begin, at the end of this year or the beginning of next year to work with the 13 towns that we work in. But effectively, I'm here, as part of our interlocal contract. This is the plan does need to be approved by the 13 member towns of the alliance. And, I think this is a nice opportunity to be here. And if you guys have any questions generally about what the Bennington County Solid Waste Alliance is doing, how we're doing, how we're effectively spending the resources that we ask the town to give us to be part of this program, and any other questions you might have about again the sort of process of the solid waste management that we do for Bennington County Solid Waste Alliance. So like I said, the SWIP plan is that was put in front of you is largely a template. It's a lot of it is formulas that the state gives us and says, if you have this many residents, you have to reach out to this many businesses. If you have this many schools in your region, you have to reach out to this many schools per year and things like that. So a lot of that is sort of a bit of a formula plug and play. And there isn't a lot of room in this particular document for us to be creative or to sort of create, sort of espouse a vision for how we want to either work more closely together as towns or try to meet certain goals. But again, happy to discuss any items within the plan or to discuss any items related to how the Bennington County Solid Waste Alliance operates and what we do. So yeah, that's basically.
That's it. Oh wow, you're quick. And part of your thing is taking the hazardous waste. Am I correct?
Right. So one of the things that
things that you do for us.
largest costs that we have to manage is the state requirement that every town provide opportunities for their residents to dispose of toxic, poisonous, or other noxious, landfill banned materials.
Yep.
The household hazardous waste facility, we actually, this Monday was our opening day for the season. And, we manage that at the Bennington transfer station. It's a by appointment situation. Residents pay $5 to come and dispose of up to 15 gallons of waste at a time. And we sort, store, and then send that waste out to be properly disposed of, safely disposed of, or recycled, depending upon what that waste specifically is. Often it's incinerated, but it depends on what the individual waste is. With our paint, for example, all that is recycled. With our batteries that we collect there, that is sent out for recycling. The other thing that the SWIP does is and a lot of things that are listed within the SWIP are listed on our website. But it is a nice opportunity for us to recategorize and make sure that our lists are updated. So what we did in advance of this is to go through and say, okay, do we know where all of the textile collection boxes are within the county? Do we know where, which of the businesses, shops that are collecting oil from the public are, so you don't have to go, you don't have to wait, you don't have to go to the town HHW day, or you don't have to go to the get an appointment to dispose of used motor oil. We have listed on our websites, participating auto shops that collect it. Same thing with car batteries, auto shops and auto places, things like that are banned from the landfill. Recycling opportunities, et cetera. So that is also been included in all the appendices of the document and is available on our website.
Something similar to what Bennington's doing with their tires. They send people to the tire places and say, that's where you're going to return your tires there, not to us.
Right. And actually that's, that's again, tires are one of the things that we have listed. If you go to our website, we have A to Z, list, and tires is one of the items on there. And you click on that and it tells you places where you can bring tires. Yeah, those are kind of things that are difficult to dispose of, even for a town, and not always necessarily cost effective. So the less of those the more the public that's able to use these other resources, and
the more you can educate,
not put a strain on
the more you can educate them when they get their tires changed, just to let the tire guys pay them and pay for them right there.
So those are the types of things that we try to educate the public on. We have myself, I have 20 hours of my week is working on solid waste issues. And then we also have another person, Paula Camperman, who is a consultant who we bring in, who also has that 20 hours of her week dedicated to working on the solid waste issue. So between the two of us, it's one full-time employee, but I handle more of the administration stuff and more of the actual management of the household hazardous waste and making sure that facility is up to code and meeting all standards and, fixing the shelf heights so that we can store things properly and still meet the aisle width requirements and things like that. And then Paula does a lot of the face-to-face outreach. She does the Saturdays at the farmers markets. She does the, panel day, or she'll do other, she'll do all the hours events that sort of happen on the evenings and the weekends, and then also manages contact with the schools and does things like recycling relays where she'll line up teams of kids and they'll go back and forth and they'll pick up a piece of trash and run back and they have to drop it into the right bin, whether that's like a recyclable or a compostable or whether that goes in the regular trash kind of a thing, as a education tool.
Anybody have anything else for Scott?
Well, I'd appreciate if you could make a motion to approve the plan and
I'll make a motion that we approve the SWIP plan. There we go. Solid.
I'll second that motion.
Any more discussion on this? Any more questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
Sure.
thank you very much.
Thanks so much. It was good timing too. You didn't have to wait around long.
Yeah. Thanks. So I had a Bennington Planning Commission meeting earlier today, so.
God bless.
For accommodating my schedule.
Have a good
Thank you, Scott. Have a great weekend.
Happy Memorial Day.
You too. Public comment. Public comment, Hannah? No hands up?
I'd like to say something before we go, Mike.
Sure.
I'd like to say it's National EMS Week. And if you see an EMS worker, thank them for their service, past and present.
Anything else? I'd like to congratulate Tara on an award that she received this week. I think it's a well-deserved reward, or award, not reward, reward for the hard work that she's put in really.
Mhm.
I think it's well-deserved, for sure.
Thank you.
Should have brought it with you.
It's hanging in her office.
Gotta hang it out.
And if it's not,
I think it's a testament to her devotion to what goes on here, in town. So,
we do appreciate all your hard work.
Great job.
Even though sometimes we make you like retable stuff over and over and over and over. We do appreciate it. And in a token of appreciation, you can have Monday off.
Oh, that's so nice of you.
no other public comment. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great
Yeah.
weekend.
I guess I should have